Inference Plus Story Short Number 20, Series B. The first time Ben met Gwen, she had her skirt pulled up over her head and her panties on display for everyone in a 500-yard radius to see. She was screaming, "I'm a unicorn! I'm a unicorn! I'm a unicorn!" while she spun in circles until she fell down and threw up into her bag. He fell in love with her then. She'd been 5 years old, and he had been 6. Before Gwen, Ben firmly believed that all girls, except for his mom, were gross. Why the older boys seemed so interested in impressing them was beyond him. He understood wanting to impress a dog or a dump truck, but girls didn't seem worth all that trouble. Gwen was different. Gwen wasn't really a girl. She was more like a really awesome combination of a dog and a dump truck that could also play pirates and have spitting contests. At the time, Ben wouldn't have called his feelings love, more like best friends. But anyone older and wiser who saw the two of them together tended to smile knowingly and say, "Just wait." Ben's mom said Gwen was going to grow up to be a looker. But as far as Ben could tell, Gwen was pretty good at looking at stuff now. They looked at stuff together all the time. Just a couple of days ago, they'd been looking at a dead bird on the sidewalk, and Gwen was the first one to notice the maggots. Their grade school years went by. They spent their summers playing Marco Polo in the neighborhood pool. They spent their winters seeing who could throw a snowball the furthest. By middle school, it was officially Ben, much to Gwen's annoyance. It was the summer before 8th grade when things began to change. Ben was riding his bike home from the pool after a typical afternoon of pool noodle sword fights and water spitting contests with Gwen when Andrew Guzman rolled up alongside him and asked, "Is Gwen your girlfriend?" Ben laughed so hard he nearly crashed his bike into a stop sign. "No," Ben said. "Why?" "You guys hang out all the time," Andrew said. "So do you and Mario," Ben said. "So what?" "Mario isn't as pretty as Gwen," Andrew said. "Gwen?" Ben said, baffled. "Gwen isn't pretty." "I think she's pretty," Andrew said. "If she's not your girlfriend, I'm going to ask her to the movies. I think I'm going to kiss her." Ben's stomach dropped the same way it did when he and Gwen rode the tilt-a-whirl at the fair every August. He hoped he wasn't getting diarrhea. His mom always told them not to put pool water in their mouths because they could get E. coli. She was going to be so mad. "Whatever you want to do," Ben said, more nonchalantly than he felt. That night, as he lay in bed staring at the tree swing where he and Gwen had both learned to pump their legs, he thought about her and had to admit that Andrew had a point. She was kind of pretty. Ben was happy when Gwen told Andrew she didn't want to go to the movies with him. He was even happier when she went to the movies with him instead. As they walked home, she reached out and held his hand, and for the first time ever, he wasn't sure what to say to her. That was when she stopped beneath the streetlight, closed her eyes, leaned forward, and kissed him. When they pulled apart, he saw the way her blonde curls glowed in the moonlight like a halo, and he finally understood what his mom had meant when he said Gwen was going to be a looker. High school was a blur of homecoming dances and basketball games, band concerts, and senior pranks. While other boys' attention jumped from girl to girl, naming a new crush every week, Ben had eyes for no one but Gwen. It wasn't that he didn't have opportunities. He was a good-looking kid, and more than one hopeful young lady tried, and failed, to divert his focus. He considered kissing other girls from time to time, but when he thought about what it would be like, all he could think about was Gwen. He was a young man now, and understood the intricacies of love. He was 18 and knew in his bones that what he and Gwen felt could and would last forever. He had the total confidence that can only be experienced by those uninitiated in the rules of heartbreak. If she had been a bit distracted in recent months, it was understandable. They were about to begin the next chapter of their lives, and they had decisions about their future to make. She had spoken somewhat wistfully about studying abroad in Ecuador or taking a gap year to backpack through Europe, but neither of those things were part of their plan. They would attend the state university together since in-state school was more financially responsible, graduate with their undergrad degrees, and follow in their parents' footsteps by becoming parents themselves. They would be happy just like they were right now, just like they had always been. At graduation, just as the graduates tossed up their caps and the audience cheered, Ben pulled the small blue box from his jacket pocket, turned to Gwen, and dropped to one knee. He didn't even need to say the words. His actions made the question clear enough. Gwen, his beautiful, smiling Gwen, turned her face away towards the setting sun.